Welcome back to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas into simple, powerful insights. Today, we're going to ditch the usual cliches and get into the 5 core habits that actually build wealth, all based on the thinking of entrepreneur Bruno Perini. So let's just get this out of the way first. You've heard it all a million times, right? Wake up at 5 a.m., take huge risks, believe in your idea no matter what. But honestly, that's not the real story. I mean, think about it. As Perini points out, blindly believing in a failing idea, that's a recipe for disaster, not success. Just look at the guy who ran Blockbuster into the ground. Taking a risk isn't a virtue if it's a bad risk. So if that's not it, what is? What's the real difference? Well, it comes down to a set of 5 incredibly powerful, interconnected habits, ways of thinking really, that completely change how you approach everything. Okay, let's dive in. All right, so here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to break down each of these 5 critical habits, and we're starting with the one resource you can never, ever get back, your time. First up, mastering your time. And look, this has nothing to do with being busy or packing your calendar full of stuff. It's about being effective, about focusing only on what truly moves the needle. And it all boils down to one famous idea. You've probably heard of the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, right? The idea that about 20% of what you do creates 80% of your results. But here's the thing, the wealthy don't just know this rule, they take it to a whole other level. They apply the 80-20 rule to itself. It's called the Pareto of the Pareto. And what you find is just mind-blowing. It turns out that a tiny, tiny sliver of your actions, less than 1%, is responsible for more than half of your success. The entire game is to find that 0.8% and focus on it like a laser. All right, on to habit number 2. See, real wealth isn't built on luck. It's built on a solid foundation of specific, practical knowledge. It's all about building a modern toolkit for your mind. So Perini has this brilliant model. The Trivium has the stuff everyone needs. Being a master of language, so writing clearly and understanding what you read, and basic math. Then, the Quadrivium is for entrepreneurs. And look at these: financial education, sales, public speaking, and leadership. These are the skills that actually create value in the world. Okay, now this next habit, this is an absolute game changer. This is about using other people's expertise to hit fast forward on your own life, to multiply your own time. And this slide says it all. The average person asks, how can I learn to do this? The wealthy person asks a totally different question. Who has already solved this problem and can help me? You're trading money, which you can always get more of, for time, which you can't. It's the ultimate arbitrage. And this quote from Yuval Noah Harari just nails it. Intelligence isn't about knowing everything yourself. It's about finding the fastest, most efficient path to the solution. By using other people's knowledge, you are literally making yourself more intelligent. Habit number 4. You know the saying, it's not what you make, it's what you keep, right? Well, this is where that becomes real. It's about understanding that taxes aren't just something that happens to you. They're a game you can play, legally and strategically. The key thing to get here is that wealthy people don't just own stuff in their own name. They use legal structures like a holding company, which is basically just a company whose only job is to own other assets. They do this to lower taxes on things like rental income, or they use specific pension plans that let their money grow tax-free. The point is, they are actively managing their tax situation to keep as much of their money as possible. And that brings us to the 5th and final habit. And honestly, this is the master key. This is the one that makes all the other habits work. It's about having a profoundly long-term perspective. You've probably heard of the famous Stanford marshmallow test, right? The kids who could wait for that second marshmallow, they consistently did better in life. That ability to trade a small reward today for a much, much bigger one tomorrow, that is a legitimate superpower. And this is why, because the most powerful force in the universe is compounding. Whether it's with money, skills, or relationships, small, consistent efforts over a long, long time don't just add up, they explode. This long-term thinking is what separates a flash-in-the-pan success from real generational wealth. So, as you can see, these aren't just 5 random tips from a blog post. They form a system, a powerful, self-reinforcing loop for building a truly solid life. See how it all connects? You figure out the best use of your time. You constantly learn to get better at that thing. You buy other people's time and knowledge to go even faster. You use smart tax strategies to protect what you've built. And you let it all cook over decades to get that compounding magic. It all works together. So, if you found this breakdown useful, if you like getting complex ideas explained in a clear, no-nonsense way, then do us a huge favor and take 2 seconds to do these 2 things. Hit that like button that tells us we're on the right track. And subscribe so you never miss our next explainer. It's a huge help to the channel. And we'll leave you with one final question to really think about. Of these 5 habits, which is the one you can start working on even in a tiny way, starting today? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.